want to talk to you today about celebrating the gospel of life and how this is the foundation to practicing palliative and hospice medicine for patients with serious, life-limiting illness, particularly at the end of life. One day, our sisters were out for a walk in our neighborhood, and a little boy on his bike rode up to them. His name was Malachi, and he wanted to invite them to his 9th birthday party. One of the sisters gave Malachi a prayer card with a Divine Mercy image. Malachi looked at this image and then looked up at one of the sisters and said, "Who's this?" The sister asked him, "Have you ever heard of Jesus?" He shook his head no. She held up the crucifix on her rosary. "Have you ever seen the cross?" Malachi had never seen a cross either. So she started at the very beginning. She told Malachi about how God the Father made the whole world. He made the grass and the sky and even the stars. Even Mars, Malachi asked. Yes, he made Mars. What about the ocean? He made the ocean too. Malachi was shocked and surprised, and his big brown eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger. Then she told him, and God made something even more wonderful than all of those things. You, Malachi, you are even more wonderful than the whole world. God thought about you, dreamed about your face and your smile. He loved you. He wanted to be with you forever, so he decided to give you life. And he said, "Let there be Malachi." And there you were. You, Malachi, are more special than even all of the planets in the universe. This kid looked like he would burst with joy. Malachi was glowing and radiant, beaming with pride that he was someone special. As the sisters walked away that day, they were filled with joy that God had given them the honor to be the person who told little Malachi the story of his creation. We each have a story. My story includes practicing as a palliative medicine physician prior to entering the Sisters of Life. I accompanied patients both in the inpatient hospital setting and in an outpatient clinic. Journeying with patients with serious illness has taught me how to accompany and to care for the human person, any human person, but especially vulnerable persons. When death is close to our eyes, the deepest desires and stirrings of the heart are revealed, and I had the honor of walking alongside them and listening to their hearts. To understand the gift of the other, the gift of our patients, we have to first know the gift of ourselves. And to know the gift of ourselves, we must receive our very being as a gift from the Lord. What does it mean that God, who made the entire universe, made you in his own image and likeness? It means that you are an immortal soul, always held in being by a God who loves you, knows you, delights in you, and has a plan for your life that only you and no other can fulfill. It means that he is intentional about your life. He made you because he desired you to be. He wanted you to exist. So just by virtue of your existence, not for anything you can do or earn or achieve, just by being, you are wanted, you are chosen, you are valued, and you are loved. Understanding this and receiving this truth from the Lord is very important. Actually, it is key to understanding the true definitions of love, freedom, choice, and suffering. Words whose true meaning are sorely misunderstood in today's culture, and words that are very important to healthcare. To understand the gospel of life is to understand that you are fearfully, wonderfully made. St. Pope John Paul II calls this the contemplative outlook. In Evangelium Vitae number 83, he says, "It is the outlook of those who see life in its deeper meaning, who grasp its utter gratuitousness, its beauty, and its invitation to freedom and responsibility. It is the outlook of those who do not presume to take possession of reality, but instead accept it as a gift, discovering in all things the reflection of the Creator, and see in every person his living image." The contemplative outlook starts with the way God sees us, which transforms how we see ourselves and extends to the very way we see our patients. With this contemplative outlook, we can be at the front lines with those who are sick, suffering, outcast, or dying, and see in all of these situations real meaning, and to reveal to our patients, through our words and actions, their innate dignity. The view of the human person is radically different from what is in our mainstream culture. Christianity says that the value, gift, and worth of the human person are not conditional, but inscribed. We do not make ourselves. We have received our lives from God as a gift and a call to love. No human condition can negate this truth, not even the condition of suffering with a serious illness. To serve our patients in the practice of medicine requires an understanding of our own identity and the identity of our patients as fearfully and wonderfully made by God. It is important to recognize and acknowledge that those in the healthcare field, especially physicians, are given the awesome gift and responsibility of trust and authority. Patients and families do actually listen to and expect medical guidance from their medical team in regards to their health and medical decision-making. Therefore, it is important to know the awesome gift and opportunity we have in helping to uphold the dignity of the life of all vulnerable persons, especially those who are suffering with a serious illness. In the very beginning of Evangelium Vitae, number 2, Pope John Paul II gives us an encouragement when he says, "Every person sincerely open to truth and goodness can by the light of reason and the hidden action of grace come to recognize in the natural law written in the heart, the sacred value of human life from its very beginning until its end." We have both a responsibility and an opportunity to encourage each other, even those who do not share our Christian faith, to celebrate and uphold the gift of human life from its very beginning in the womb until its natural end. Therefore, it is fitting to think of healthcare as the place to celebrate the gift of life. But what does it look like to celebrate the gift of life in healthcare? The hospital or clinic room of any patient is sacred ground. The moment we as physicians knock on that door to be invited in, we are given the most humbling honor to be entrusted with the sacred gift of another person's life. And for our patients who are dying, to be standing with them in the vestibule of heaven. This means that the disposition of humility is the way to celebrate the gift of life in healthcare. From this humility, from this recognition of the sacred gift of life that sits or lies before us, flows the how to celebrate the gift of life in healthcare. And that how is love, even when confronted with situations of intense suffering. Viktor Frankl admits profound suffering in a Nazi concentration camp, wrote in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, "For the first time in my life, I saw the truth that love is the ultimate and highest goal to which man can aspire. The salvation of man is through love and in love." Pope John Paul II wrote a beautiful apostolic letter, Salvifici Dolores, which presents the Christian viewpoint on the mystery of suffering. He shows how Christianity sees suffering differently than today's current culture. Through the cross of Jesus Christ, suffering has meaning. The suffering that comes from sin has already been conquered by the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Therefore, our suffering, the crosses in our lives that come from the brokenness of this world, can be the very place where we receive new life. Jesus wants us always to look at everything, even suffering, in the light of the resurrection, in the light of his love. Jesus, the divine physician, really does heal all of our wounds, including those of our patients. The truth of this statement became even more clear to me a few years ago. One afternoon during my first year in the convent, while I was at Holy Hour, I was thinking of a young patient I cared for a few months ago. She had metastatic cancer and suffered physical and emotional pain. She was a woman of few words, stoic, and very simple and direct in her responses, which I found challenging. During my time of prayer, a particular encounter I had with her came to my mind. One day I was called by the ER and asked to see her because she was in pain. I knew her well at this point, and for some reason, although I was not new to this type of consult, I was a bit nervous and apprehensive about what I would see. When I walked in, I saw the extent of her pain. She was crying. She said, "There's nothing more they can do." And she began weeping. Seeing her weep on this stretcher and very frail, my heart was moved. It was actually so moved that I could feel my heart break for her. I had a deep desire to want to make her whole again. I wanted to bring her healing. It was such a profound experience of both sadness and empathy. Well, during my Holy Hour, I brought this encounter to Jesus. I asked him to show me how he saw this encounter, and he spoke to my heart. I saw in her tears of suffering and in my bleeding heart of empathy a living divine mercy, where in that moment, Jesus was there in both of us. He was in her suffering and in my desire to heal, that we were a gift to each other. We would encounter Jesus Christ, the divine healer, the conqueror of sin and death, through each other. And in that moment, he extended his healing love to both of us. This is the meaning of compassion, to suffer with. There is a deep suffering present to our patients who are seriously ill. There is a tension between our human nature rebelling against the evil of death and the reality that it will happen. This tension is often unspoken, relentless, crippling, and exhausting. And the culture of death speaks into this tension. It says, take back control. You can have control of this. This is a lie, which is covered in some semblance of quelling of fear. But to families, physicians, and those who have seen loved ones suffer, it says to them, okay, I can do something. I can help people take back control. Physician-assisted suicide and euthanasia are where the promotion of this false control of the culture of death ultimately leads. The only true way to break the tension that the dying patient experiences is to do the exact opposite of what is being proposed as the solution. That is, to accept with trust and to let go. This takes an encounter with God himself, the one who is trustworthy. And that encounter can come through you. Through your actions, he whispers to the patient's hearts, it's okay, you can let go, and I promise I will hold you. This is how we truly live, even during the dying process. Healthcare is that place of encounter, a place of radical solidarity with others, a place where we stand like Our Lady under the cross of another. It is where we are invited to enter compassionately into the suffering of our patients, to suffer with them. We receive them as a gift, and they are healed through our presence, our touch, our commitment to non-abandonment, and our love. If our patients know that they are loved and that their lives have profound meaning, even in their suffering, they can courageously place their lives into the hands of the Father and experience the true healing that comes from his love for them. Healthcare is the sacred place where we are entrusted with the privilege and responsibility of healing through love. Like little Malachi, let us be filled with awe that we are each wonderfully, fearfully made, and celebrate the gift of life together.